Hey everybody, good afternoon. Hope you guys are doing well. We are nearing the end of the 48-hour period, and I think we're all feeling a little bit better. It's hard to not gradually talk yourself into feeling better given some time away from a game like that. But I want to talk about a couple things in this video, mostly pertaining to the offense. Well, entirely pertaining to the offense, but mostly pertaining to the play of the receivers. And I know we've spent a lot of time talking about the offense this week already, but it is the side of the ball that failed us. And I think it merits further discussion and deep diving. So I'm going to take a look at a couple things concerning the receivers on the Seahawks. Quick reminder, I am streaming tonight on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Should be starting around 7. That's where we're going to start this week. If you guys would like future midweek streams, like if I continue to stream on Tuesdays, if you would like those streams to be at like maybe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock or something like that, that's something that we can adjust in the future. That's something we can consider down the line, but let me know what you guys would prefer. And like this video, thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, click the bell for notifications, become a channel member for $2 a month. Those are the best ways to support the channel. Okay. So this first thing I want to look at here is a tweet from Condota. The data is from Pro Football Focus. This is not data that I looked at on Monday when we did our PFF videos. It's not something I typically look at. I think it's something that they don't compile every single week, but I could be wrong. But I'm not used to seeing this every week. Regardless, I think this is a pretty good starting point for our conversation about the receivers because everybody's trying to figure out what the problem is. We know part of the problem, right? We know part of the problem was we couldn't run the ball effectively, mostly because we couldn't run block. Charbonnet was okay, right? Charbonnet was all right. Walker was ineffective. Oots didn't seem like he did a very good job, and it all kind of comes back to that interior offensive line that seemed like they didn't play that well overall. And I know they played better for Charbonnet, but I still don't think they played great. I still think it's pretty lackluster stuff. So that's part of it. We know that. But that passing attack that was relatively ineffective in that game, who is to pin? Who is to pin the blame on? That's the question here. And the answer is always going to be a little more nuanced than just saying it's this guy or it's that guy. But I want to take a look at this. This is a Pro Football Focus metric called separation percentage. I want to be clear. This is not empirical. This is not completely objective. You could probably get another person with this same criteria to watch the same plays and come to a different conclusion, but I think it's worth looking at. So let's take a look at this. Separation percentage measures how often a receiver beats the coverage to get open rather than benefiting from a defense more focused on limiting yards after the catch or stopping them short of the first down. This metric is not limited to just targeted routes. Instead, it looks at all routes run where a defense tries to prevent a receiver from getting open. So basically, it weeds out the plays where the defense lets you get open underneath because they don't care if you get open underneath. There are going to be plays throughout a game where, as a receiver, you run a 4-yard curl route and you're open by 8 yards because the defense doesn't really care that much. That doesn't really take any skill. That just takes you running the route and standing there. So I want to take a look at this. It's a good starting point for answering one of the important questions from that game. Were players other than JSN getting open consistently in that 49ers game? And it seems like the answer is more or less no. Before we go any further into this video, I want to tell you a little bit about my friends over at Sleeper. Have you heard about the app, the Sleeper app? Download it. I'm going to let you in on a little something now. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. Yes, this year, millions of users enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there is so much more to this app. There are live stats, real-time updates, and visualizations on all stats. News feed is lightning fast. You get updates on your favorite players and teams. There is a chat you can use in real time to engage with other users about plays and performances. All kinds of fun stuff like that over there. So download the Sleeper app, the #1 sports app today. Experience it yourself. Use promo code SBN to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. SBN promo code. Back to the video. AJ Barner went, okay, so the number on the left is the number of routes that fit the definition that the player ran, where the defense actually tried to prevent them from getting open. The number on the right is the number of times they actually got open or got separation. And I don't know exactly what their criteria for separation is. It's some clearance between them and the defender. But AJ Barner, 2 of 5, so that's 40%. Cooper Kupp, 1 of 2. I'm sorry. Cody White was 1 of 2. Cooper Kupp was 3 of 7. That's about 43%. Elijah Arroyo goes 0 for 1. Torrey Horton goes 1 for 4, 25%. Charbonnet, 2 for 2. That's pretty cool. Okay. But JSN's the only guy who's doing it with volume and doing it with efficiency. 6 of 9. So that's about 67%. So I think the answer is kind of no. It's not a black and white no. Don't get me wrong. This is not something where nobody's ever getting open. But I think you can kind of see the issue here. I think you can kind of see why Sam Darnold might be locking onto JSN, because he's the only guy he trusts to get open consistently. Now, that doesn't mean to say that the other guys are never getting open. Clearly, that's not the case here. We have, by PFF's metric, Cooper Kupp getting open on occasion. Charbonnet gets open a couple of times. You've got AJ Barner getting open a couple times, and they didn't really get the ball in these spots, right? Like, AJ Barner had 2 targets in this game, I think, and the one catch he had bounced off Abe Lucas's helmet. So it's it's not a good scene, not a good sight. But the other thing I wanted to look at was this tweet from SH Carson 2. They do some fun work with the All-22. Check this tweet out if you want to. I'm not playing the video on this video. I'm not playing the video. If you want to watch the video, go to his X account, go to the tweet, watch it there, give him the engagement. But I watched through this video, and what it is exactly what it says. All routes run by Torrey Horton in the Week 1 game against the 49ers. And it was a good way not just to see Torrey Horton, but also to see a lot of the other players. Kupp, JSN, Barner, Arroyo, etc., trying to get a sense for whether or not other players got open. And from watching this video, which again, if you want to go watch it, go look it up. I recommend it. This kind of stuff is a great way to quickly get a lot of data processed in your mind. So it seems to me that Torrey Horton was mostly running clear out routes. And what I mean by that is he was running routes where he was never intended to really get open, and he was never really intended to be targeted. He's running a route to attract the defense's attention so that usually JSN, but another player can be the primary look. And if the defense decides to just let him go, then great. You've got a big play down the field maybe. But in this modern NFL where every defense is living in cover 2 shell all the time, he's probably not going to get open. So you know what the intent is there. The intent there is to draw the defense and allow somebody like a JSN to make the play underneath, which, okay, it is Torrey Horton's first NFL game. But watching this, I was surprised with how often he was running a route that basically had no chance of being involved. Like, you can't get him 1 target throughout the course of a 60-minute football game. You have 10 possessions, you're running 50-plus plays. You can't get 1 target for Torrey Horton. Maybe he's not 100%, but he doesn't look any less than 90% to my eye, so I don't know. But you also get to see some of these other plays, and you get to see some of these other players, and generally speaking, it didn't seem to me that Horton was getting open even when the opportunity to get open may have been presented to him. And I do have to acknowledge that looking at somebody like a Cooper Kupp in this game, there wasn't a lot of getting open, right? There wasn't consistent getting open. It's kind of understandable that Darnold would have limited trust in everybody except for JSN. Like, you're looking at Cooper Kupp, and his whole business in the NFL has been running good routes and getting open. That's been a huge part of what he does in this league. That's been a huge part of why he's been such a successful player. It's a little bit, it doesn't look right seeing a guy like a Cooper Kupp struggle to get open like that. But it's not never happening. It's not. It's just not. Like, The last offensive play of the game, the play where Darnold fumbles, Kupp is open. Kupp is open, and I think, and other people have said this as well, if Darnold reads the coverage correctly and looks at Kupp when he should, that's a touchdown, and we're probably winning the game. But he doesn't. Instead, he's locking on to one receiver. So, again, the answer is more nuanced, right? Everybody's to blame here. Everybody's to blame. Clint Kubiak is asking Torrey Horton to run clear out routes, basically exclusively, which, look, I can get having him run a lot of those, but I think it was almost entirely just clear outs where he's never really supposed to get the ball. The odds of him getting the ball are like 5% at best. But Horton's also not getting open. So it's the coach, it's the receiver, and then you have the quarterback as well. The quarterback, when the opportunities to hit a player like a Cooper Kupp near the goal line for probably the game-winning touchdown are there, he didn't see it. But looking at this video, watching not just Horton but the other players, we got a little bit of a problem. We do. We do. And I don't know how much better it's going to get. That Niners secondary may not be bad, but there are going to be better secondaries that we play down the line. There are going to be defenses we play that double JSN every snap. And then what do? I don't know if we have a great answer. But everything needs to get a little bit better. Kubiak needs to be a little bit more... Kubiak needs to bring something a little bit more creative than just sending Horton on routes up the field that are designed to draw attention and do little else. The receivers need to get open a little bit more reliably, and Darnold needs to actually go through his progressions. But I wanted to take a look at some of the data and talk about some of this tape. Let me know what you guys think. See you guys later. Go Hawks.